in nature. So for them sometimes you have to give certain permissions. But they are not the first choices. Remember this. So stop beating your children if you do that.
Thank you, sir.
And pray. Hadhrat Mirza Tahir has mentioned in the end of this that what we do is pray for them. If you really love them, you want them to be reformed, you're not God Almighty, but there is one God Almighty who has power to change things and reform and transform things. Why don't you turn to Him? So Hazrat Masih Maud has mentioned his own experience that whenever we pray to God, Allah listens to the prayers and works out wonders for us. So that is perhaps what is lacking in the case of those who take recourse to beating.
Number 4 question, sir, is also about children. This sometimes some parents, they do bring their children to the mosque, and these children sometimes they disturb the prayers. Do we stop such parents from from coming to the mosque if they will not
Again,
stop bringing their
children would be children. When children are not grown up mullahs, after all, they're children, and sometimes they lack religious knowledge and upbringing and so on and so forth, and they have to be treated like children. If you just stop them from coming to the mosque, how would they learn things? They should be trained, they should be taught, they should be cultured, and during that process sometimes they may make mistakes, sometimes they may create a sort of small disorder in the mosque. But occasionally that happens. Try that, generally it shouldn't. But if there is a child who persistently and continuously comes and shoots for troubles, such a child should be prevented from coming to the mosque, because such a child is a delinquent child and he has to be rectified before he is given permission to enter the mosque. So, but that would be an individual case. Generally speaking, we know from our memories in the past that when we were children, the Masjid Mubarak, that was the mosque where Hadhrat Masih Maud used to lead his prayer or prayed there, that used to be filled with children. And many times the children were in excess in number to the grown-ups, and sometimes they made small innocent, mischief mongerings and things. They ran and sometimes made noise, and sometimes they were also beaten, I tell you, by those who were impatient. These things happened and they coexisted, and ultimately the same children turned into awliyaullah and great people with the grace of Allah because of their early attachment to the mosque. So although some people might have suffered at their hands because of their innocent follies, but in the end, that training, that attachment to the mosque paid great dividends for the whole society. So don't discourage it.
Thanks, sir. The 5th question, sir.
Yes, please.
Is as we read that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has predicted that Allah will raise a revival at every century.
Yes.
Although we Ahmadi believe that Hazrat Masih Maud said in one of his writings that he said, Al-Wasiyah, the will, that this is the last millennium or something like that. But how do we explain to the non-Ahmadis if he raises the question that who will now be the reviver for the 15th century? How do we explain to him? Although we understand, we Ahmadi understand that the Prime Minister said it is.
Now, are you talking keeping in mind the Ahmadis or the non-Ahmadis?
The non-Ahmadis.
The non-Ahmadis. Yes. So it should not be a question flowing from them to you, but from you to them. Tell them that your 14th century is missed and the 15th is also missed. You come later because your 14th century is intact. What they notice might have been missed would be at most would be the Mujaddid of 15th century. And the first part of that century is not over yet. Because ala rasi kulli mi'atin, that ras starts just before the century and runs into the century for a while. It does not end up just at the beginning of the century. So as far as they are concerned, they have no right to put the question to you. But you have a right, because the full 1 century has passed and their so-called Mujaddid has not come.
Suppose they put the question to us, sir.
Huh?
But suppose they put the question to us, sir.
You rebut it by, as I told you. You said, what are you asking? You have missed a full century and has not produced a Mujaddid so far. Where is your Mujaddid? First produce that. He will ask us. Yes, please.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
سيدي أمير المؤمنين نصره الله. أريد أن أتكلم بعض الكلمات العربية التي ذكر عنها المسيح الموعود عليه الصلاة والسلام أن العربية هي أم الألسن.
نعم.
ولي الشرف أن يكون مجلسكم هو عربيا قبل أن يكون غير ذلك. بما أنني ابنا لكم وآمنت بصاحب الزمان ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي الإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم، وأطعنا كلام الله سبحانه وتعالى ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا استجيبوا لله ورسوله لما يحييكم به. فأن الحياة هي في كتاب الله سبحانه وتعالى وسنة رسوله عليه السلام. فاللغة العربية هي أصل لكل اللغات وهي أم الألسن. وإنني أتشرف أن أقف في مجلسكم هنا وأتكلم بالعربية الوحيد، ويمكن إخواني لا يفهمون ما أقول وأنا كذلك عندما يتكلمون لا أفهم ما يقولون.
But you are one and there are so many. نعم yes please.
يعني أنا أفهم قليلا من كلامك عندما تتكلم في بعض الآيات القرآنية والأحاديث، وعندئذ ينشرح صدري وينطلق لساني لأتكلم فورا. ولكن في بعض الأحيان لا أفهم الكثير من كلامكم بما أنني لا أفهم اللغات الإنجليزية أو الأردية. لذلك أتشوق كثيرا أن أفهم كل ما تنطقه من كلمة لينشرح صدري أكثر مما لأنني جئت من مسافات بعيدة، وأنت تعرف هذه كلها حبا وطمعا في حب الإيمان وزيادة الإيمان. ولذلك أشكركم وأرجو أن تتكرموا علينا.
تفضل. Would you kindly explain to him? I have understood what he said, but because of bad schooling in our time, we were not given the practice of speaking in Arabic. There is a disadvantage with which we were brought up, and unfortunately I have not been able to rectify it so far. But I hope if I am given chance to speak with Arabs like him for a few months together, inshallah that would come back to me. All the knowledge would be converted into the spoken Arabic as well. So tell him that let's hope and pray that that soon happens. Then I'll be able to speak to him in Arabic.
MTA International, reaching the corners of the earth.